Good morning.
Yeah, it's bright.
Oh, it's a bright light. Oh, yeah. You're so cute. What a beautiful morning it is here in Panama. We are so blessed to start off each morning with a walk on the beach, followed by some outdoor fun. We try to make the most of the mornings here before it gets too hot. Hi, what did you get there? What do you have there? Is that a shell? A seashell. A seashell. So we just did a quick change and now we're gonna go out for a little bike ride just around the block, like nowhere. It's just because I like to get him outdoors and as much as possible, and here in Panama you really have to use your mornings and your evenings because during the day it's just not comfortable to go outside, it's too hot. So I'm just gonna take him for a quick ride around the block. Don't worry, he is safe in his thing. He doesn't need a helmet in this thing. We're just going around the block. There's not gonna be any cars, trust me. Now it's time for my morning cup of coffee. I stopped coffee while pregnant with Lucas and for the first few months after he was born, but now I'm back to the addiction and it's oh so good. then I always switch my coffee into one of these mugs because I took a first aid course, and apparently most burns to children happen from coffee. And so what they recommend is getting an automatic close coffee mug with a lid like this. So that looks like something that you push the button and it opens and it automatically closes, and this is great. So if he knocks it over or something, like, I'm just not concerned about it. So even in the house, I always transfer my coffee into this just to be safe, because we want to be preventable. See, now I can drink it with ease. Now we're gonna play, sing, and dance until he gets tired enough for his first nap. Okay, so the nanny has just arrived. She's here from 8 till 1. So now I'm going to shower and get ready, and then Lucas is going to take his nap in about 45 minutes. And then I'm going to get started on doing some work today. But I also want to make a meat stew with a whole chicken, so I need to get started on that earlier. And I want to show you guys how to do that, so do it. Now I get my girly time, getting dressed up in my closet. My mom would tell you, ever since I was 4 years old, I always loved makeup and playing dress up. This is a part of me that I fully embrace, and I try my best to honor that part of me by giving myself time to nurture my feminine being. There are times in my life that are so busy or stressful that I neglect her, and at the end of the day, I really do feel it. So now that I have way more balance in my life, I try to make time to engage my feminine energy every day. And having Lucas helps a lot with this, because although there is a lot more responsibility with taking care of him, there's also a lot of playfulness in every interaction with him. I'm grateful that he's helped me give myself permission to engage that playful side. The feminine masculine energies is a topic I'm very passionate about because of how much I struggled with it while being a boss babe and building a successful business. It's something that most women have to contend with in our culture of success and achievement. So comment below if this interests you and if you want more content on this topic. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys in on the best busy mom hack for hair so that you can look put together without really much investment in time at all. Honestly, like, this is I don't shower my hair that often. I probably shouldn't admit it, but maybe it's like once or twice a week. And so if my hair is down, that's because it's probably clean. I probably had it nice and showered that day. But if it's up, it's not clean. But what I do, the best thing to do is, first of all, invest in a fake ponytail, because all you gotta do is, gel your hair a little bit here, put that ponytail on, and you're good to go. You don't even have to style the ponytail. But the other second best thing that you can do is a messy bun. But rather than just like putting it all up in a pony, take 1 minute to just tease your hair a bit. You have to put some spray, tease it a bit. I really need a haircut and I need to dye my hair. That's one of the downsides of where I am. Like, I just don't have access to things. So getting my nails done, hair, all of that stuff, I haven't done it since And like, well, I haven't done it since before having Lucas, but in general here, I don't get it done. So once I'm back in Canada, I get that stuff done more often. But anyway, so you tease the hell out of your hair, just like this part, so that when it goes up, it's a little bit, you know, it's got a little bit of volume. It's not stuck to your scalp. So it's the opposite of the other look that you guys see me probably ever since having Lucas. I wear a lot like this fake ponytail because it's so quick and easy that I don't have time to like, I actually haven't, since having Lucas, I haven't used a curling wand or a hair straightener to do my hair at all because it just, I didn't realize how time consuming it was. So now I just do this. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of comb it softly, very softly back a little bit, and then lift it all up. And once it's up here, pull out some strands for that romantic look. I mean, you can obviously make this a lot better. If you want to put more time into it, you can curl these strands and it'll look way better. You can spend more time teasing and really perfecting it. But if you just want to do it quickly, you can also do it really quickly. So take out some strands like that. I'm going to do this before it's tied up, otherwise it can ruin everything. And then you want to kind of comb this back a little bit. Comb this area back too. Okay, and then you're gonna kind of twirl it into a loose bun at the top. And the key is to not use a hair elastic, but instead use bobby pins. Okay, once you're happy with it, use a couple bobby pins to secure it. And then again, you can curl these if you want, but if not, it's done. And I think it's kind of cute, kind of romantic. I mean, it's just better than just throwing it up into a regular messy bun, I find. And yeah, I'm gonna curl these just to show you guys what it's gonna look like. Okay, so I just curled these two pieces and you can see that's how it looks. I find that it's super helpful. Now I'm gonna put some earrings on, which I don't do every day because Lucas likes to play with my jewelry, so I prefer not to wear anything these days. But I might record a video. So, all right, this is a new dress. Let me show you guys what the dress looks like. Okay, so this is the dress. And I put this little scarf thingy on top just for that romantic, cozy feel. That's actually one thing that I miss about being in Canada is the seasons. Here, I love the weather and I prefer it, honestly, but I do miss the season of warmth and coziness, and just also you can have a better fashion sense when you can actually wear clothes. Here, I always just want to wear bare minimum. So something like this is totally like not that useful, but it's cozy and cute, and I think it goes well with the outfit. Now it's time to put Lucas to sleep for his first nap. Alright guys, so Lucas is now sleeping, so I'm downstairs. I'm ready to make my meat stock. I'm having my breakfast smoothie, which my husband made. He just stuffs this thing with a bunch of powders and a lot of good stuff in here, so I suck it up and drink it. So the meat stock is very exciting for me, and I want to share it with you guys because it is one of the most nutrient dense foods that you can eat on a daily basis, and you can feed it to your babies, to your children. It is so nutritionally valuable that it's worth the time to learn how to make this and to make a batch every few days. It really is, and it stores well in the fridge too. What this is, you've probably heard of bone broth. It's similar to bone broth, but way better for you. A lot shorter cook time than bone broth. So bone broth, you have to let it cook for several hours. This is about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And there's just so much more nutrients in this than in bone broth. And so this is going to create a gelatinous type of substance. When you heat it, it will be liquid, so you can drink it as a tea, or when you put it in the fridge, it will become like Jello, and you can eat it by the spoonful if you'd like, Or what you can do is you can make it the base for soups. So oftentimes I just let it cook, and at the end I'll throw in some more vegetables, and it will be our dinner time, our meal for dinner time. It'll be a nice soup. But so good for your family. And so what you're looking for is you're looking for meaty bones. That's what you want to cook. Things like necks, feet, joints, things that are there's a lot of collagen in those things, and that's what's going to heal and seal your gut. And that's the purpose of this, to heal and seal your gut. So if you aren't aware, the gut is oftentimes the root of a lot of problems. If you have any kind of skin condition, you should first be looking at your gut. Just healing something topically is only temporary. If there's any skin condition, the root is not external. The root of the problem is internal, and so you want to look internally to heal the external. An example of this is my son Lucas developed eczema on his chest. It started off as a small round spot, and I was like, what the heck is this? Is it a ringworm? But it was eczema, and I have no history of eczema. But my husband had psoriasis, and I learned, oh, it can also be hereditary. But I hallucinate that it was actually because of his gut. And oftentimes these skin conditions are caused by the gut. And you say, well, why does a baby have poor gut health? And well, I think it's because my baby was born C-section. And so he was born already at a disadvantage, because when a baby is born vaginally, what people often don't realize is that Mother Nature has created everything perfectly. And when we interfere with things, we don't realize sometimes what we're losing by not going with the way Mother Nature designed it. Now, of course, there are cases where interventions are necessary, and in my case, thank God, I was able to have C-section to deliver Lucas, but I'm not naive to thinking that it's a better form of delivery. If I had a choice, I would deliver vaginally. Now, reason being, one of the many reasons is that when a baby is conceived vaginally, they take their first breath going through the vagina and breathing in the vaginal bacteria, which may sound disgusting, but this is now building the foundation for their gut health. They are now colonizing and building the good gut bacteria, and so this is how their immune system starts and develops. And so babies who are born via C-section tend to have a lower functioning immune system and tend to have more health troubles than babies born vaginally. And so I think that that could have affected, it just makes him more susceptible to things like the eczema and immune system issues. And that's why from day one, when he was born, I started giving him a probiotic. A probiotic has good bacteria that help to colonize that gut, especially when it's at a disadvantage. It's good to give to him. So I give him probiotics regularly, not as often as I did when he was first born. And I also was giving him vitamin D drops, which I also don't give as much now because we're out in the sun every day. Obviously, you want to get these things through natural sources if you can, but supplements are there to supplement when you want to be sure that your child is going to get what they need. So anyways, I was able to heal his eczema. Yes, eczema is something that you can heal, contrary to what the mainstream says. And so I'm very happy about that, and it happened through a lot of different things. It wasn't just one thing that healed it. I can share that with you guys in another video if you wish. But anyways, getting back to our meat stock. So what you want to do is you want to use a type of a meat source, either chicken or beef or pork. I prefer to avoid pork. I'm just not a fan of pork. I find it to be a very dirty animal. Chicken or beef, and you really want to get a good source. So find who are your local farmers. You have to basically interview them. You want to make sure that these animals are hormone free, that they're free range if possible, and that you don't want them to be pumped with hormones. And so find a good source, and you're looking for the gelatinous, things that can become gelatinous. So you're looking for joints, feet, necks, things like that, meaty bones. And so the recipe calls for every pound of meaty bone is going to be joined with 1 quart of water. Okay, so it's quite a bit. So you need a deeper pot than what I have here. And I didn't factor this in when I thawed my chicken. I forgot that I don't have a deep enough pot. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to cut this up and make it in maybe 2 batches. Now, what you can also add for flavor and for nutrition, some carrots, some celery, some parsley. I love the smell of parsley. An onion, some garlic, some cloves, peppercorns, and a good source of salt. Now I'd say a good source of salt. I'm a huge believer in salt. I eat a lot of salt every day. Don't get me started on that, but the key is that you want to make sure you find a good source of salt, because a lot of salts are high in heavy metals. One good brand of salt is called Jacobson. I buy them on Amazon, and they test for heavy metals, and they have very high standards for that. So I really appreciate that. Another one is Celtic sea salt, but I don't think that they test for heavy metals, so not as reliable. And so salt is very important for the nutrients. I actually put some salt in my water bottle every time I fill it up, because oftentimes people aren't absorbing the water because they don't have the nutrients. It's lacking the nutrients. So if you put salt, it helps you to absorb that water better. So I'm gonna get started, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. I literally cut the chicken in half. It took a lot of muscle. And now I'm adding 3 cups of water to each. So I divided it into a pot over there and over here. So I'm assuming that, each one of these are now 3 pounds. And I'm adding all of these vegetables. I also forgot to mention that if you have any compost, like excess, these are old carrots that I cut up, scraps, you can throw those in as well, right? So use what you have. Basically, you want to fill the water to just over covering where the meaty bone is. And here we go. And then we're gonna add our peppercorns, cloves, and if you have a young baby, you can feed this meat stock to babies, very young babies, but maybe you skip the salt if they're very young. But at Lucas's age, he's now 10 months, you can have the salt. So it's a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of peppercorns and, any other vegetables that you want to add. All right, so this is how they look. Again, I made 2 batches. So what you're gonna do now, you kind of wanna push all this under water. Ideal to have a deeper pot again, so that everything's covered perfectly. Bring this to a boil, and then you're going to cover it and reduce to simmer. Bring it to a boil for 15 minutes so that everything can be kind of broken up, all the meat. And then you cover it and reduce it to the point where it's just slightly bubbling at the top, not a lot of bubble, more action underneath. And you'll do that for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, or until the meat easily falls off of the bone, okay? Okay, so this next recipe that I'm gonna make while we're waiting for the meat stock is the hidden liver meatballs, which is amazing recipe to make in bulk. You can put it in the freezer, and Lucas loves these. So I made them for when my mother-in-law came to visit. I tried to hide it from everyone, but the mistake I made is I did 1 pound of liver to 1 pound of beef, which is usually what you read online when you look at the recipes. So what I'm gonna do now is 1/2 pound of liver to 1 pound of beef, so that it's less noticeable, because the taste is quite strong. So I'm gonna cut this in half. Now what you have to do is you have to blend this liver. So Kobe is sitting right here because Kobe's on a raw food diet. He's been on a raw food diet since he was a puppy. He knows the smell of liver, and he knows how good it is for him. So he loves liver. So I'm going to cut this up in half and then blend half of this so I can use it in this recipe. Okay, so it looks pretty nasty, but why make normal meatballs if you can make hidden liver meatballs? Liver is the single most nutritious food in the world that you can eat. It's the most nutrient dense. And now the big misconception, and I understand because I thought this too, is I thought that the liver stored all the toxins of the body. So I said, why would you want to eat liver? It has all these toxins, but that's not true. The liver has over 500 different functions in the body, and what it does detoxify the body, but it doesn't store those toxins in the liver itself. So the liver is full of nutrients that help to heal the body and to detox the body. And so if you can find yourself a really good source of liver, I prefer beef liver over chicken, but you can do chicken as well. I just think it's gross. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's gross. But once you add the beef, which we're all accustomed to, okay, so here I have 100% grass-fed organic beef, free of hormones and artificial ingredients. And now I'm just going to put this in with the liver. And if you're eating liver, you want to make sure you're not taking any vitamin A supplements because you will overdose. That's too much vitamin A, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to throw in 1 pound of beef. Oops. So we've got the beef and the liver, and now it's just like making any other meatballs, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 onion that's finely chopped, 5 cloves of garlic, some fresh parsley. I'm going to add some Italian seasoning, some sea salt, some breadcrumbs, some Parmesan, some milk, and then 2 eggs. And then I'm going to make my meatballs. That's it, very simple. So this is what I have in here. I'm going to add everything all together, all my onions, my parsley, and my garlic. And I'm just gonna mix it with my hands. And I don't wanna over-mix it. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention is that once you bring it to a boil, start to notice this brown stuff that forms at the top. These are impurities, so you just wanna skim them off and discard them. Yeah, they're just impurities from the meat. Maybe don't use this mesh strainer, a different one, makes it a little easier, but you wanna do that as it starts to boil. Now, you could sear these, but, you know, for flavor, but I'm not going to, it's an extra step. I'm baking them at 400 degrees. And so Lucas just woke up, so in the time that he took his first nap, I was able to start on 2 bulk meal prep meals for my family. So this is going to last quite a time. The meat stock is like 2 portions, and these I'm going to have to freeze half of them. Half of them we'll have for, you know, lunch or dinner. And so yeah, it's really great to be able to make food that is very nutritious for the family. All right, so now that Lucas just woke up from his first nap, I'm gonna make him his favorite breakfast, which are these waffles that I made up. Not really waffles, I guess, but it's 1 egg. I like to make sure he has 1 egg a day. I think there's a lot of nutrition in eggs, and really important for a growing and developing body. And then it's 1 tablespoon of almond flour. Other flours work better, of course, but I try and keep him gluten-free. So you can do a gluten-free flour as well, but almond flour will work just fine. Tiny bit of almond milk. I make my own almond milk. It's really easy to do it. Just get almonds, some dates, and a nut milk bag. That's the key. I can show you guys. If you're interested in learning how to do that, comment down below. Okay, and you can put a little bit of cinnamon for flavor if you'd like. I'm gonna pass on that today. And I'm just gonna pour these into my waffle maker. And then for the toppings, all I do is I give him frozen, fresh, organic berries. And if you have fresh, that's better. Sorry, not frozen, fresh. I get frozen organic berries because I can't get my hands on organic berries. So I get them frozen, I thaw them in the fridge, and then once they're thawed, I think it's called mull. I just mush them. I mush them with this, and then that's what I put on top. So he gets the sweetness from the berries. It's all our natural sweetness. We don't need to add any maple syrup or any sugars. And this is the only fruit I'm giving him at the moment. This alongside with some cooked pears. Cooked pears are great for digestion. If you have a constipated baby, always good to give them. But cooked pears and cooked apples and berries. Anything else I'm avoiding due to it causing eczema flares. So too much natural sugar can feed the yeast in the body. So I want to avoid that for him, but he's still getting the sweetness. And this way also he's not developing these taste buds strongly towards sugary things, right? He eats very little sugar. And then for him, this is like very, very sweet. because he doesn't get anything else that's sweeter than this. And so right now I'm very aware that as a baby, I'm training his taste buds. And so if I don't want to have a picky eater down the line, I have to be careful about what I'm giving him now. So that's all it is. Let me grab his plate. Okay, so that's how it turned out. I'm just letting it cool on this plate before I put it onto this plate of his. It's silicone, but I don't like to put anything hot on plastic or silicone. And then I'm just gonna throw some of these berries on top. So good. These are blackberries and strawberries. Blackberries and blueberries are the most, I don't know, I think they are the most nutrient dense berries. Are you all done? Did you finish that entire plate? Almost? You say all done? All done. All done. All done. How do you say all done? All done. I'm trying to teach him some sign language. So this is all done. All done. Been doing this for months now, right? And this is book. We read a book. This is help me down. This is milky, milky, milky. So he can learn these things before he becomes verbal, so that we have a means of communication. But he's almost saying, he's actually better with the words than with the hand symbols. He says, all done. He can say it. I'll say all done. He wants to feed me. He likes to feed me. Oh, you're carrying it all in his monkey pouch. Keep storing it for later. So mushy and like you already chewed it. So just as Lucas is finishing his breakfast, these meatballs are pretty much done. I'm gonna let them sit there for a bit. Alright, so I'm gonna make one last thing because it's about lunchtime now, so everyone's hungry, aka my husband. I am too though, but not that much. But anyways, one last thing that's quick so I can get to some work, because I have some important work to do today. This is called a Brazilian cheese bread called pão de queijo, and I just make my own version of it. It's not like really the traditional way, but I use 2 eggs, and these are just really delicious. I mean, if you like cheese and you want something gluten-free, this is an excellent recipe. So whisk together 2 eggs, and it's really quick to make. Okay, and then a tiny bit of milk. Honestly, guys, I'm so bad with giving you measurements. I just eyeball it. I'd say maybe like 2 tablespoons of milk, like a really small amount. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to put your tapioca flour. That's the key ingredient of this, tapioca flour. And I like to use olive oil as well, so a little bit of olive oil. Just have to, once you make it a number of times, you realize like the proportions that you need. And tapioca flour. And then some salt and cheese and some some parsley if you'd like. Certain consistency that you want. And if you're not getting that consistency, like right now it's quite thick, so then I would just add a little bit of milk. Still have my meat stew behind me running. Okay. And then we're gonna take some cheese. I also make this with vegan cheese, because now I'm trying to have more real dairy instead of the fake stuff, because it's just usually full of chemicals. Okay, get your salt. Y'all know I love salt, and some parsley for giving it a little bit of an Italian flair. Is parsley Italian? I don't know. Okay, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. And then that's done. So this is kind of the consistency that you want it, like watery but thick. I don't know how to explain it. And you pour it into your little muffin tray, and I put my oven on at 375 and I bake it until they grow fat, and then they kind of get hard on the outside, but they're nice and gooey on the inside. Would have been nice if I made 12, but less for me. All right, now I'm gonna put in the oven, and that's a really quick snack for my family. Okay, so I finally got some time to sit on the computer and do some work, but then my husband comes up, and he's doing a Tony Robbins seminar right now, and he comes up and he wants to discuss some things that he's learned, and he wants to share some things. And so I realized, like, this is a moment where he wants, you know, there's a need that he is needing me to meet, which is to offer him my presence and my attention. And so I choose that that's my priority. He's my priority, because I know that that is important to him. And I know since having Lucas, it's been a lot harder to give him my presence and my attention, because even when we do talk, I'm usually, you know, my eyes are on Lucas. I'm watching him, I'm holding him, I'm being torn in different directions, and I don't get to offer my husband as much presence as I did before, which he understands, but it's different now. And so now that the nanny's watching Lucas downstairs, I saw it as an opportunity for me to give him presence. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, she's leaving in 20 minutes and I have all this work that I want to wrap up. And so this is the constant struggle of being a mom. And this has been like something I've been trying to figure out, you know, since day one, is where do I give my attention? Because when I do have time, I feel like there's a million things that I want to get done, but then I'm also being pulled in so many different directions. And I'm learning to just go with the flow, let go of the resistance towards it, ease up, and prioritize, figuring out what is a priority. And so, like, in this moment, I realized that all of this stuff can wait, that he's a human, he's in front of me, and I want to be there and show up. And he appreciated that. He understood, like, the value of that time in the moment. And so I feel good about that. But yeah, it's like this thing that I think is something that takes years to master as a mom. And if you're a mom, let me know in the comment section below if you can relate to this. And if you have any tips for me or others on, you know, how to navigate this world of being pulled in so many different directions and feeling like you have so many things that you want to do with your time, but feeling like your time's a lot more precious now.
This is all done. So we're going to strain it with a fine mesh strainer. Right hot stove. But you can see that the meat pulls right off the bones. There you go. So once it's cooled down a bit, I'm going to peel off all of the meat and I'm going to make soup with one of the batches. And the other batch, I'll store the meat for another meal and then I'll store the broth.
So this here is the liquid gold. And these are the remains, which I'm going to make into a soup. Now it's time for Lucas's second and final nap. So even though I have a nanny, I am super available to him throughout the day, and I try to put him down myself for every nap because these moments are too precious to miss. The nanny's just a huge gift for when I need to do other things because she's just there and she's available, and so it really works out. Okay, so I stripped the chicken off of all of that bone, and this is what's left. So this will be maybe 2 or 3 different dishes. I'm going to make a soup for tonight, some other dish tomorrow. And over here, this is the broth. So I have 2 liters of broth, 2 cups, which I'm going to go give one to my husband, and then this is going to be used to make the soup right now. So while Lucas is sleeping, I can do some dishes. I also cooked some apples and pears for the next day. He eats those with breakfast. Cooked pears are great for his digestion. I had some ripe bananas, so I couldn't resist but to make a banana cake, which I sent home with the nanny. I find it so adorable how Lucas wakes up from his naps. He doesn't cry, he just sits up in his bed and waits for me to come in the room. I believe that one of the reasons Lucas doesn't cry much is because he is confident that his needs are going to be met and doesn't need to cry to express them. I've learned a lot about attachment theory and how critical it is for a baby to feel secure in their relationship with mom. And the most important way to establish that trust is when mom is responsive to baby's needs. That's why a lot of outdated parenting advice is so damaging. Vulnerable first-time moms like myself being told that their babies are manipulating them and that they shouldn't give in to their cries in every need. I'm incredibly passionate about this topic because of the long-term effects this has on a child that will grow into adulthood and becomes a contributing member of society. The attachment style they form as children shapes their entire lives and society as a whole. So I just figured out that Lucas doesn't like slimy textures. He never liked avocados, and I always thought that was weird because all babies like avocados. And I just gave him this chicken that was boiled, and so there's not much texture except it's slimy, and he just doesn't want it. And he usually loves meat. Like, meat is the first thing that he picks up off his plate. Lucas, here, do you want to have some of this? I just gave him a carrot instead. We'll see. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a texture thing. Interesting. Say hi. Now it's time for some water play in the pool.
I've been exposing Lucas to the water ever since infancy, doing bathtub swim lessons with him just so that he can develop a love for the water, not being afraid getting his face and ears wet. Babies naturally love the water as it emulates the womb. I've been teaching him for a few months now how to kick and how to dunk underwater. He needs to learn these life-saving skills so that, it could give him a few extra seconds if needed to survive until an adult pulls him out of the water in a God forbid accident. We're going to be installing a pool gate ASAP, but it's the second line of a defense against drowning. The first line of defense is never leaving him unattended near water. So we really have to be careful about this since we have not only a pool, but we live on the beach. He of course gets super tired after swimming, so we're gonna relax and I'm gonna give him a bottle.
Itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun that dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I'm gonna be heating up Lucas's dinner now. Heating it up on the stove top with ghee butter. So it's a good source of fats for him, saturated fats. So I'm gonna give him one of these meatballs that I made. I'm gonna break it up. Watch your fingers, baby. Watch your fingers. By this time of the day, I'm already pretty tired. It's long, feels like a long day. Lucas really likes meat, I think, because it was the first food that I introduced to him. I'm gonna give him a couple carrots too, some other vegetables, broccoli.
Daddy often comes to join us for playtime before bed. Now that Lucas is asleep, I can clean up a bit, and then it's time for dinner.
So for dinner, I made our meat stew soup, and has a bunch of vegetables. I put some nutritional yeast on it, also some croutons, and it's got lots of chicken. And I have my hidden liver meatball that I fried with some pesto sauce because I want my husband to try it, give it another chance because he didn't like the last ones because I kind of went overkill with the liver. And our banana loaf for dessert.
After dinner, it's mommy and daddy time. We use our infrared sauna and then go for a swim.
All right, look at all this sweat. I think it was a good swim session. All right, now it's time for the cold plunge.
Unfortunately, our cold plunge isn't working right now. It's actually more like a jacuzzi, so we gotta get that figured out. Unfortunately, our evening was interrupted by 4 bats who wanted to drink water from our pool. So I'm pretty terrified of getting rabies, so that was a no for me, and I got out of that pool really quick. So that's it for this vlog. Thanks for watching, and comment below if you want more vlogs. Bye!